Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Dennis Francis, Dr. the Honorable Luna Clark, Leslie and Samuel, President of UJA, Vice President of UJA, also present. Last but not least, certainly, our esteemed President who gave such a stirring speech earlier today, Mr. Derek Warmington. Thanks for inspiring us. Let me just say how much a pleasure it is for me to spend this evening with you today. I want to talk to you a bit about some of the things that are taking place in the UN, but I want to do it from a different angle. You know, it's a lot different being an ambassador to a country than being an ambassador to the United Nations. People somehow intrinsically get it when they say, oh, you're Jamaica's ambassador to China. Because they know what that means, you know, to be an ambassador to another country. When I was in China, I'm promoting Jamaica exports, you know, coffee, promoting our tourism in China, trying to get Chinese investment to fund our infrastructure, and the signs of that are all around us. You know, when you are a country like Belgium, good relationship with Jamaica, you can see what they do in Kingston, because that transportation center in Halfway Tree is funded by the Belgian government, and all the JUTC buses are funded by them. The new wing at the Spanish Town Hospital is courtesy of King Juan Carlos and Queen Sofia of Spain. The expertise that we have in the sugar sector, most of those experts are coming from India. So people understand that, you know, there are visible signs of what countries do when they support each other. There's not that much that people know, however, when you say, oh, you're the permanent representative of Jamaica to the United Nations, they kind of look at you blankly. They know about the UN, but they don't quite understand what the UN does. I think most people associate the UN with the maintenance of international peace and security. But that's just one of the three pillars that the UN is involved in, and it's a very important one. The other two is the promotion of human rights and the promotion of development. As a small developing country, many of us, many small island developing states, are very, very focused on the development aspects of our work. But for a country like Jamaica, who has admittedly a very long and treasured reputation on the international stage, we feel that it is our duty to be active not just in the development arena, but in all aspects of the UN's work. And some people say, well, you know, you have a small staff, you have limited resources, why don't you just focus exclusively on developing our country? But we feel that we have a role to play as a citizen of the international community, and that's why we have an active presence and a very loud and articulate and vocal voice in the UN when it comes to international issues such as Syria. So what I want to do this evening I know, is to not so much focus on how the UN does its work, but just give you some examples, some anecdotes drawn from my own life. Because as I get older in this job, I think I become a bit more reflective and try and put things in relationship to my own experiences. So let me just start with human rights and how central I think it is to everything that we do. Some of you will remember back in 2002, at that time I was working at the Jamaica Ambassador in Washington, D.C. I was the #2 to Ambassador Richard Bernal. And during that October, 21 days during that October, the city of Washington, D.C. was under siege. 2002, October, Washington, D.C. That was 21 days of terror for the residents of that city, and I was one, because there was a killing spree on their way by a gentleman called John Allen Mohammed and somebody that he referred to as his quote-unquote son, a young man called Lee Boyd Malvo, who is from Jamaica. And during that time, when they finally caught him, I was in Jamaica on holiday that October. And the news filtered out in Jamaica that, this young man is actually, actual shooter, is actually from Jamaica. So, I had meetings with the government. I was on holiday, but they called me in, and we had a meeting at the Attorney General's office, and they had located his mother, a lady called Una Clark, Una James. I don't know how I get this down. But she came in, she was what Jamaicans call a higgler. She was an informal commercial importer. And she had been going from Jamaica to different places to buy and sell. One of those places was the United States. We were able to get a hold of her. She came into the AG's office, and we were saying, talking to her about, that this is her son and sort of thing. And what struck me was that the only thing that she was really interested in, because she had been deported, was whether or not we could get her another visa to go to the United States. She didn't strike me as a sort of person who was really interested in the predicament in which her son found himself. When I got back to the United States, I went to where he was being held. He had gone on a shooting spree, 10 people were dead, 3 other people were injured seriously. This is over 4 different states, including Maryland and Virginia. We had come from a place in Washington State called Tacoma, Washington. And so I went to see him. And he was actually before the judge at that time. And I said to the court officers that I'm from the Jamaican Embassy, I wanted to see this young man because it has been established that he is Jamaican. And they allowed me to go into the courtroom, and I wasn't expecting to be in a U.S. court of law, but there I was in front of the judge, and the judge just said to me, you give me good cause why you think you have any jurisdiction to see this young man. And I made a case, and I said, based on the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, and he said, no, not about that, and he's not letting me see. And I said to him, but Judge, this is an international agreement based on the principle of reciprocity, and God forbid an American would allegedly commit some crime, get arrested in Jamaica. There's nothing that we as the government of Jamaica could do to stop somebody from the U.S. Embassy in Kingston from going to see an American citizen that has been arrested in Jamaica. But that only operates amongst countries if we grant you that facility and then similarly you grant us that facility. Well, I think he got it. And he said, okay, but you can only see him for 15 minutes. So I read in the Washington Post that he was not speaking. So when I went to see him, there was I don't know, there's like plexiglass between us, and he had a telephone and I had a telephone. And I was saying to him, listen, I'm here from the embassy. Just wanted to know if they're treating you okay, do you want anything? I wasn't getting anything out of him. Nothing, which wasn't surprising. And I was looking at the time and he was just mute and the clock was ticking. And finally, in frustration, I said to him, you know what? I'm the closest thing to a friend or somebody that is looking out for your welfare that you have in this facility. So you make up your mind, because I can dress up my chair right now and leave, and then, have a good life. And then he said, hello, sir. And we started talking. I mean, the first thing that struck me was that he didn't sound Jamaican. I mean, he had a full-on American accent. And, when you provide consular services to somebody in that situation, one thing that you're not supposed to do is to talk about the substance of the case. Your role there as a consular officer is really to cater to his needs, to make sure that he's being provided for, that his rights are being upheld, and if he has any special needs, if he wants somebody to contact somebody for him, or if he wants some toiletries or magazines or whatever. That was what I was there to. And the funny thing is that just unhappy coincidence. When he was arrested, another guy from Jamaica was arrested at the same time. And they thought that both of them were involved in the killings. And I went to see that other guy. He was much older than me. He was late 20s, early 30s. And I went to see where they were holding him. And this guy was on the verge of a complete meltdown. He had been called upon this because when they left Washington, they stopped somewhere, they bought the car from him. He was, he had developed some relationship. He had nothing at all to do with it. But when I saw him and spoke to him, he was just a wreck, just falling to pieces. But always remember, when I saw him for the very first time that day, he was cool as a cucumber. This guy was 17 years old. And he was just so calm and self-possessed. Anyway, that relationship that I started with him on that day lasted for almost a year. Eventually, I couldn't see him anymore because the trial took place and he was ultimately sentenced to a supermax prison in Virginia called the Red Onion State Prison, where he is now. Solitary confinement, life, without the possibility of parole. So that's where he is. And I tell you this story because in the UN, under the human rights pillar, it is not acceptable for countries to subject someone to a life sentence when they are a minor. And he was 17 when he did these crimes, heavily under the influence of this John Allen Mohammed. I mean, I saw Lee a lot. I mean, as I said, you can't go in and give a consular service to somebody if you are going from a place in your heart where, just in Jamaican parlance, you have somebody, you're going to see somebody, and in your mind is, this guy killed 30 innocent people, 3 other people that shot. There's no way you can establish any sort of working relationship with somebody if that is what you're carrying with you into that facility. And so I had a couple of friends that knew I was doing this, and I said, boy, you're better than me because I could never talk to that guy. But you know what? That's my job, and I can't do it effectively if, even before trial, I look at him as, what he's been convicted of. He's a mass murderer. But I had to establish a relationship with him. And it got to the stage where we moved from the plexiglass and the telephones into, it was a cell, but it was a cell that had a desk in front of it. And then one day I said to the God, you don't need to be in the cell with me the whole time that I'm talking. You see me come here every month. You know who I am, you know that he's comfortable with me. And you just give us some privacy. And eventually, the God left and it was just me and him talking, And I was with him when he turned 18 on that very day. And so, what I'm saying, and this is not a moral judgment, I'm just saying, when the international community at the level of the United Nations looks at something like fundamental human rights, they're not saying that you can knock up somebody and throw away the key. What they are saying is, when that person is a minor, right, below the age of 18, it is unconscionable and not acceptable to subject that person to a life sentence. And it's not just life, it is, Red Onion State Prison is 23, first of all, it's a segregated prison. That means that the prisoners don't see each other. Every one of those prisoners are in their cells 23 hours a day. They get one break by themselves, not mingling, 7 days a week. I remember going to see him once and I said to him, your skin looks terrible. Why you look like you have jaundice? And he says, because I'm in my cell, and not only am I in my cell, they never turn off the lights. I don't know whether it's night or day. There's no window. That's 23 hours, 7 days a week. So, I make sense of what I'm doing at the UN by just connecting with certain things that happen in my own experience. Otherwise, it will become a bit of sometimes it can become a bit of an intellectual exercise where everybody's arguing their points on some resolution. Should the comma go here? Should that T be crossed? And you can get the sense that you're losing the connection with what this is really all about, because it's just 193 countries constantly in a debating room, negotiating over something that sometimes you just feel, what is the point? Why are we doing this? So I have to try and make that connection. The other, one of the 3 pillars that I mentioned is the maintenance of international peace and security. And here again, I want to mention something that we're very involved with, I've always been involved with, but is something that has some special resonance for me in terms of my own circumstances. And that's the long-running dispute between Israel and Palestine. And everything that is happening in the Middle East today, you can find the root of that. Next year will be 70 years since 1948 when the State of Israel was founded. And this year, we are 50 years since the so-called Palestinian state, the state that they want, has been occupied by Israel. And I'm talking about the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. And we have been dealing with this for a long time, for all of those years. And Jamaica is one of the few countries that has tried to steer a middle course. We are very supportive of the aspirations for sovereignty and statehood of the Palestinians, and we have always been very supportive of them. At the same time, we also appreciate the fact that Israel has a right to exist, and that Israel is subjected to to security threats, chiefly from rockets being lobbed into Israel by Hamas, which has its seat of government in the Gaza Strip. So, how does that relate to me? Well, as Dennis said, my father and mother had studied in England, and so through an accident of birth, really, I happened to be born in England. But I noticed Dennis was trying to question my Jamaican bona fides. But I was born before independence, so on the 6th of August 1962, I was living in Jamaica. So anyway, you know, I come from a family that through education has been able to lift itself up the economic ladder through education. And my father and a lot of his brothers or my uncles, practically all of them devoted their life to public service. I mean, we have some families that are known as business families. My family, the Rattray family, is just public servants. And, you know, through stressing education, practically all of them got scholarships. And one of the scholarships my father got was to continue the studies that he had started in London, continue it at a higher level in Tel Aviv. So he packed up his whole family and we moved to Israel. I have 4 sisters. So at that time, it was just my 3 sisters and myself. My youngest sister had been born. And we went to live in Israel at a very interesting time in the contemporary political life of that country. We were in Israel for 2 years. I was 7 and 8 years old when I was in Israel. And that time was coincident with what is known as the Six-Day War. That's 1967. When I say that it's 50 years in 2017 since the Palestinian state has been occupied. That was the war where Israel, the victor, got the West Bank, the Golan Heights, which it still occupies, the Sinai, which through Anwar Sadat, it has given back to Egypt, and the Gaza Strip. And I was there at that time. And, you know, I have many memories of that, even though I was so young. But let me tell you this story. I have been back to Israel in all those years. My father had returned. And last year, I got invited to go on an ambassadorial trip to Sweden. Now, Sweden, when I heard Sweden, it sort of rang bells to me, because when we lived in Israel, my father's best friend was from Sweden. And everything we as the Rattrays did as a family in Israel, we did in Swedish family. But I haven't seen, there are 2 little girls, and one of my sisters is named after one of them. So there are 2 little girls, my 3 sisters and I, and we did everything together. So then I heard, I'm going to Sweden. So I said to the ambassador, you know, when I lived in Israel, we were like back and bench with the Swedish family. He said, you know, we have very good records in Sweden. All you need to do is give me a last name. When I went to Sweden, the ambassador found those 2 girls. Of course, they're in their 50s now, and the last time I saw them, they were 7 and 8 years old. So these 2 50-odd-year-old women was reunited with me last year in Sweden. And they brought me a present. And it was a box of just stacks and stacks of letters from my father and my mother. You know, when the whole war was going on, my mother was freaking out. She was pregnant at the time with Petra, my youngest sister. And she was, you know, beside herself. And my father said, look, I can't keep, the situation is too tense, I'm going to send her back to Jamaica and finish up my studies. So my mother left him over there. He stayed in Israel, and his friend from Sweden was doing a different degree, and his degree finished before my dad's. And my dad was corresponding with him. He was writing from Tel Aviv to his friend in Sweden. And my mother was back with us in Jamaica and writing to my dad's friend's wife from Jamaica. And they gave me this. And I looked at these letters. These are like, it says, dear name on one side, power have beyond on another side. And the paper was just like tissue paper thin. And it had these Jamaican stamps on it from the 1960s. And here I, in Sweden, looking, my mother has passed away since 1989. But I remember her handwriting, and I'm looking at her handwriting, and my father's, who has Alzheimer's now, so I couldn't even show him these letters. I don't think it would mean anything to him. Just stacks and stacks of these letters. They were corresponding back. And so, if you allow me, I'm going to just read an excerpt from one of my father's letters that he wrote in 1967 to his friend, Olavi, who was back at that time in Sweden. And it's about what I'm talking about here. This is actually my speech, which I decided not to read, but... So this letter, this excerpt, is dated the 5th of July, 1967, just after the Six-Day War. So he writes, "It is really unbelievable that a country as small as Israel could have achieved so much militarily. Of course, the Air Force was excellent, but to me, the honors go to the faceless and nameless men of Israel, the ones we have never met during the 2 years we were here, the Secret Service. One really can't help admiring these people. We saw some of their organization during the 4 days march, and we marveled, but that was nothing to the war effort. Nothing is left to chance, for after all, they are fighting for their very existence. Even the most intelligent are hurt if you try to give a two-sided view of the picture. And I suppose you really have to be in their shoes to understand. However, I still hope that in victory, they will be both humble and magnanimous. I can't see them returning all the captured places without some peace offerings from the Arabs. Now that the UN has deliberated for such a long time without results, I don't know what will be the next move. I suppose Russia will still try to salvage something from the wreck, but how far she's prepared to go is anybody's guess. I can envisage Israel giving up some of her new conquest, but only at a price. Admittedly, for the Arabs to recognize Israel and to sit and negotiate is a high price for people as proud as them to pay. But I do believe if the great powers will let them alone, it is not impossible. Now, when I read this, I'm dealing constantly with this issue. And I'm saying, so much of what he was writing in 1967 is the same thing. This is one of the most intractable problems that we have ever tried to deal with in terms of collective endeavor of the international community. And it is one that resonates with me because I'm very close to the Palestinian ambassador, and I'm equally close to the Israeli ambassador, who invited me to finally go back to Israel in December of last year. And I went back there, and I went to the West Bank, and I had a meeting with the Palestinians, what they would call the foreign minister. And I also went near to the Gaza Strip, to an Israeli kibbutz, a settlement, and saw the fear that they were living under from constant attacks from Hamas. And I went up to the Golan Heights. So it made it more tangible to me And it made me more convinced that if ever these two sides are going to have some sort of rapprochement, it will need to be mediated by a country like Jamaica. I'm not saying Jamaica, but like Jamaica, who is not looking at one side and saying, you are all right, and then looking at another side and saying, you are all wrong. It's trying to actually find that middle way. And as things stand now, this is an elusive piece which we still have yet to secure. Let me give you a final anecdote. And it's to do with a guy that was selling on the street in Jamaica. This is to do with development. And every day I used to pass him, he used to try and sell me something. And then one day, when I was at the stoplight, he said, Mr. Rattray. And I said, Lieutenant, how are you over there? And he said, oh man, now I find out your name, Anyway, that started a sort of relationship between me and this guy, who is from one of the, I can only say is one of the worst ghettos in Jamaica. And I used to help him and his family out, but I had never, ever gone down there. And he always used to say to me, Mr. Rattray, come and see where I live, man. Come and visit me. And, this place in Jamaica, in Kingston, is called Majesty Gardens. Popularly known as Back to, but I just knew I was going to go down there. And then one day, he came to my workplace and he said, you know what, man, my daughter is very sick in this direction. And he always talked about his daughter, Tasha. He said, you have to come and look for her. So I went down there, and she was on death's door. And I took her to the hospital. We jumped into the car, and within 2 days, she was 17 years old, she died. And he wanted to do something for her, in the community. And he said, Mr. Rattray, help me to do like a night or something. And I said, okay, I'll help you. So I said to him, I'll come and organize it. Actually, it was just like a street dance. Where, I bought a lot of fish for the people and then a lot of music. But I said, I'm not coming into your community until you introduce me to the area leader. And he said, okay, I can listen. Back to, subsequent to this story, I've done a lot of work in the community, so I know it very well now. But at that time, Back to was a very unstable community because this wasn't two different parties fighting war. They were fighting war. It was an internecine war. The top part of Back that leaked out onto Spanish Town Road was warring with the bottom part of Back. That is onto MOSA NY Luncheon. Same party, but they were fighting in themselves, and it made it very, very tense. Anyway, I went in there and they set up a meeting with this guy called Harold. He introduced me to him by a nickname, just his rightful name, Harold. And we went to a bar, offered him a drink, he said don't drink. He said, can I get you some cigarettes and no smoke? And he was dressed really, really neatly, And I said to him, you have a job? He said, yeah, he works at the wall. I said, good for you. So I was just trying to establish some comfort level with him because I know he wouldn't feel comfortable planning anything inside that place without at least him knowing who I am and me being able to breathe properly. So throughout the course of the conversation, he just sort of casually started telling me about getting a phone call from another area which was far, far away from where his community was, saying that they were in a war and they were under siege and they needed some help. And he said, Mr. Rattray, it's a good thing that a shipment had just come. And one of the machines was this really, really high-powered machine. And he and his guys went down there and he said you could tell that the other side didn't know that that he had this machine, which he had gotten from his job in the wharf, right? So he had gotten it through the wharf. And so he told me this story, how they woke up on them, and in some real graphic detail. This meeting was at night at a bar. And I was trying to act like we were just having a regular conversation. And to tell you the truth, his manner towards me when he was telling the story in real detail was very sort of matter of fact. So I just had this feeling that, I was like, my mind was telling me, this is surreal. I'm not having this conversation, but I was. And then, the party company, I did the events, and after that I went on there pretty often to try and do some work, and I took my daughter, who was very young, but she had been born in Washington. And she was like many people from so-called uptown in Jamaica. This is living in a country where there are actually two Jamaicans. Yeah? And I didn't want her to, we had moved back from Washington as working in Jamaica, and I didn't want her to grow up in a country where if I'm at a stoplight, her first inclination is to wind up the glass. So I used to take her around there with me, just to expose her to every aspect that I could of our country, and to allow her to even know how to speak. Well, in Jamaica, they say know how to flex, but just know how to communicate and be relaxed in different surroundings. And I remember going into the guy that, one of my friends, shack with her, and the daughter was saying, "It's middle of the day. Why is this light on?" And I said, "Oh," I said, "Danny, not because it's even electricity, we have to run the light 24/7. But when you look at that place, it is pure little wilds going to the pole. Everybody is doing the same thing, and because they're not paying for it, the lights are constantly on." So these are things that she's seeing, and I'm trying to explain to her. There is no sewage, there is no electricity, there's terrible roads, there's a lack of jobs, there's substandard education, everything that they're trying to resolve when we talk about sustainable development goals and what we need to implement in countries across the world in terms of raising the standards, raising the infrastructure, water and sanitation, just basic things that people need, for their human dignity. Everything that is being spoken about just didn't exist and doesn't exist in a community like that. And that's the development challenge that will take $5 to $7 trillion per year. And as you heard in that kind of introduction, what we're trying to do with the Canadian Ambassador is to realize that you can't say the countries raise the money by increasing tax on the people, because all of us feel that we're already overtaxed. And there's limited money coming from country to country bilateral aid. The rich countries are just giving to the very, very poor countries, and Jamaica is an upper middle income country. So we're not getting any of that money. So most of the money is going to come from the private sector. And that's what we're trying to do, to work with private sector companies. In this group of friends, we have 50 ambassadors in the group, and we have BlackRock and McKinsey and some of the big banks together trying to talk to us about how are we going to fund the upgrading of all of these infrastructure projects so that people that live in places like that can lift up their heads in dignity and know that what we have, the rest of us in Jamaica, is something that they can have a chance to aspire to as well. So with that, let me just conclude. I've actually written down something, it's actually lyrics that I wanted to read to you. This has to do with this theme of human rights and justice. The late great Bob Marley sang, "Until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all, there will be war. Martin Luther King Jr. said, without justice, there can be no peace. And Peter Tosh cried out for equal rights and justice. What I hope to do is to just take the experiences that I'm getting within these international fora and translate it so that it can mean something real and something tangible in the lives of every Jamaican, but more so in the lives of the least amongst us. Thank you very much.